Sports.
Louisville Motor Speedway, aptly called the Bull Ring. Louisville can hurt you. The question today, who will be the last one standing? A beautiful day to go racing NASCAR Craftsman Truck Racing, number 13 of 26 in the series, here today on CBS. And hello, everyone. Ken Squire with you. How would you describe this track? Well, if you opened a dictionary, a race fan would tell you, you'd look up the word bull ring, and there would be a picture of the Louisville Motor Speedway. It races like a quarter mile where it used to be a quarter mile. Races like a road course on most of the 7/16ths, and coming down here out of turn 4, it's like competing over a ski jump. It's a wild track for these 32 drivers running 225 laps, 98 miles today here. One driver this morning said when you come down to the start line, you turn left and you just keep turning for 225 laps. There's a lot of great stories galore here today, and one of the best is in the front row. Let's join Dick Berggren right now.
Ken, it's an old Dodge front row today. Despite that, in the 56 race history of this series, Dodge has won just a single event. The driver who won that race is a stock car champion, but a rookie here in the trucks, Indiana's Tony Raines. What's it going to take to win this thing today?
A little bit of luck. I think it's a really, really challenging track, and got a good truck underneath me, so we're just going to see what we can do.
And starting on the pole from Ridgeway, Virginia, one of the real veterans, Jimmy Hensley. One of the things that's going to be a real problem today, Jimmy Hensley, is finishing this thing. Last year, virtually a third of the guys who started crashed out of it. How tough is it going to be today?
Yeah, probably the same deal. You know, it's, we got a pretty tight track here, and you know, everybody's running pretty close together, so it's probably a little beating and banging as the day goes on. Hopefully we stay clean and stay up front all day and have a good finish.
Well, good luck to you. Right behind us is the guy who won this race last year. He also won at Milwaukee last week on CBS. It's Ron Hornaday. He's with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, this blue number 16 is named Melissa. It is the winningest truck in the Dale Earnhardt Racing Stables with 8 victories. This is Ron Hornaday, the pilot of the truck. He has won 3 races this season, the most on the tour. What does it take to win on a bull ring?
Well, I don't know if you call it the bull ring. I mean, it's the only time you call it a bull ring is if you're out front and the guys are already taking jabs at you. But starting the outside here, you're just going to have to be patient. Save these tires and just see if we can keep the Napa Chevrolet up front. We're just going to have to be patient all day.
Ken Squire, Ron Hornaday knows how to get around this Louisville racetrack. He won this event last year.
Ralph, he is one of the few that can get the throttle all the way down, and there's only one place to do it. Imagine this, going uphill through turns 1 and 2. The very best can get the throttle all the way down, but most of them, they won't come close to touching that. And you got to hit this first turn dead on. If you don't, you get down here on these rumble strips, and that will rumple up your day because at over 100 miles an hour, it's head on into the concrete. The story of this track is the story of the race today, as much as any competitor here. And with more on the track, let's go to the guys making the call. Here's Mike Joy.
Thank you, Ken, and hello, everybody. One driver described this place as like trying to fly a fighter jet inside a gymnasium. Another said it's the track he'd most like to skip on the circuit, but the first one he'd line up and buy a ticket to watch the race at. I'm joined by 2-time national champ Ned Jarrett and the newest NMPA Hall of Famer, Buddy Baker. Ned, what makes this track so difficult?
Mike, it seems every week we're talking about a unique racetrack, and I think that's one of the appeals of motorsports, the fact that every track is a little bit different. This one might be the most unique of them all. Let's take a look at it. Start at the start-finish line, you go down into turn 1, make a sharp left, then down to turn 2, then another sharp left, over to turn 3, and then you got a little straightaway and a jump down to turn 4, and then back to the start-finish line.
All right, Ned, where are the trouble spots here?
Well, let's see. Turn 1's a trouble spot. Turn 2, turn 4. Hey, you can just mark an X over the whole thing. Every part on the racetrack is a trouble spot.
All right, then. Professor Baker, on a track that's this tough to drive, how do you get around here and save your truck?
The important part is really managing your tires, also being very, very careful because you run over half of this racetrack out of the throttle, almost three-quarter throttle around the real long part of the racetrack over on the backside. If you back off too much, you get run over. So you have to keep the speed up and really protect your truck for to win.
Well, to win is important, and to finish is important, especially for the two drivers that top the point standings. Either Rich Bickle or Jack Sprague will leave this, the midpoint race in the season, with the point lead, and as such, with a $10,000 bonus.
And, Mike, I think Rich Bickle will have a good chance of taking that $10,000. He likes this type of a racetrack, has a lot of experience on them, so look for him to do well.
Well, guys, don't forget about Jack Sprague. He has a wealth of experience on this type of racetrack. They call him Mile Track Jack, but he can drive this racetrack well. Don't count him out.
How about Kenny Irwin Jr., the rookie point leader with 2 victories, and rumors swirling around Irwin about a possible Winston Cup future, maybe as quickly as next year.
Scott Walters might have more laps on this racetrack than any of the drivers in the field today, but he doesn't have experience in the trucks. As a matter of fact, he's been the crew chief on the truck that he's driving here today for the last 2 races. It's been driven by the Green brothers, David and Mark. Look for him to do well here.
Well, the Matadors are inside their trucks, and they're ready to tackle the bull ring. We'll be back with the start of the Louisville 225 in a moment.
CBS Sports coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Mobil 1 100% synthetic motor oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1. And by Econo Lodge. Spend a night, not a fortune, at Econo Lodge.
Welcome back to Louisville. They're ready to fire them off.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Let's have a look at the starting lineup for today's race. Jimmy Hensley, new track record, his 2nd career pole, and Tony Raines makes it an all-Dodge front row. Joe Ruttman, the Orlando winner, and Ron Hornaday Jr., the defending champ of this race, in row 2. Rick Crawford, 2nd among the rookies this year, and Stacy Compton ends his best start of the season. Rick Corelli, he's on fire with 5 top 10s in his last 6 starts, and Brian Refner, 6th here last year. Boris Said, runner-up in Texas, and Bob Keselowski. Rich Bickle, the point leader, and Mike Bliss fill row 6. Scott Walters, the local hero, and Tammy Jo Kirk in row 7. Terry Cook has his best start of the year, and 2-time winner Kenny Irwin. Dan Press and Butch Miller both looking for their first win this year. Jack Sprague, 2-time winner, and Michael Dawkins. Tony Roper and Chuck Bound in the 11th row. Bill Kimmel, 2-time late model champ here with Kevin Harvick. Brian Cunningham with Jay Sauter, the New Hampshire winner. Robbie Pyle makes his debut. He's out of ARCA, and Doug George. Dave Rezendes, 3-time winner last year, and Mike Cope, the All-Pro champ. Mike Wallace, 6th at Milwaukee last week, and Wayne Grubb makes his 4th start of the series. 6 DNQs, including 5 rookies. Gary Brooks, Tom Humphreys, Eddie Johnson, Billy Pouch, and Jeff Spraker, the rookies. Bill Sedgwick, the lone veteran, who did not make the field.
This is your manufacturer's breakdown. In today's show, you will have 15 Chevrolets, 12 Fords, 5 Dodges. As you can see, Chevrolet is in the 1 column with 8, Ford with 3, and Dodge with 1.
32 trucks starting today's race, 225 laps, 98.4 miles. It's a 2-segment race. They'll run 114 laps, then take a break, and they'll be able to change tires, gas them up, then go for 111 laps. It's open pits. That means they can stop under green at any time, do anything excepting change tires unless they have a flat. If they do change tires and they don't have a flat, then it's a 5-lap penalty per tire. NASCAR does that to keep the cost down as much as possible in this series.
To the uniqueness of this track, add the heat today, the humidity higher than the temperature. They're both up in the 80s. track temperature 127 degrees. In truck, it's now hotter. Jimmy Hensley, the Cummins Diesel Dodge, carries our CBS race cam today from the pole. And also from the front row, Tony Raines. He's in the Pennzoil Dodge, and you get these views from Tony's truck. Defending race champ Ron Hornaday Jr., the Napa Brake Chevrolet, has an in-truck camera. As does Boris Said, the Federated Auto Parts, 1-800-COLLECT-FORD. And you ride with Mike Bliss, the Team ASE Ultra Wheels Ford. And finally, our Econolodge cam is mounted on Jay Sauter's GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Getting ready for a start here at Louisville. A quarter-mile track expanded to a 7/16 mile oval 4 years ago. What a unique place it is. And it's packed with race fans. They know what happened here last year, and they're looking forward to the same kind of slam-bang short track action.
Boy, Tony Raines got himself a jump.
And here's Hornaday, wants to lead the first lap.
Mike, there's a little contact there between Hornaday and Raines on the outside. You can see a little damage on the left rear corner of Raines' truck as they head off into the really tough part of this racetrack. 3/4 throttle through this area.
Tony Raines may have got the jump on the start, but now he's hung on the outside.
And it's going to be tough to get back in because they're running bumper to bumper down on the inside, which is the preferred groove.
You're watching from Ron Hornaday back at Jimmy Hensley. And now you're watching from Tony Raines as Rick Crawford and now Stacy Compton go past. And Mike still can't get in line.
Yeah, he's just looking for just an opening of a half a truck length, but he can't find it.
Mike, he's able to have a birthday before he gets back on the inside of the racetrack. I tell you, Raines is caught on the outside. You can see his back slid some 8 positions already.
That yellow truck of Tony Raines is out there in no man's land.
There he got it. The 44 truck of Forrest slid just a little bit coming off of turn 4, and it gave him the opening that he needed to get down on the inside.
The 14 truck there, that's Crawford, as he's making a move on Joe Ruttman. He's giving him a little wake-up call there about 2 or 3 times in the left rear corner there. Ruttman's very tough on this type of racetrack.
This is a hold-your-breath racetrack. You run hard all the way around, but never hard flat on the throttle, except for just a little bit here. Believe it or not, there's at least one truck out there that has a restrictor plate under the carburetor.
That is Mike Wallace.
Trying to restrict how much power gets down to the wheels so he doesn't spin them.
Exactly right. A lot of these trucks are running gears that will not allow the RPM to get to the place where they're very touchy on the throttle. The main thing is be able to put a lot of forward torque on these trucks as they head off the corner.
Single file through the first 10 spots. Ron Hornaday leading pole sitter Jimmy Hensley, Joe Ruttman, and Rick Crawford. We are caution-free through these early laps. Trouble front straightaway. I never should have said that. Tony Roper and Butch Miller go for a spin. Damage to the sheet metal on the left rear of Miller's truck, but he's going to beat race leader Ron Hornaday around to the caution flag.
That was very, very lucky. You see, Roper was not so lucky. He has a lot of damage to the right front corner of that truck and left front.
Second-generation driver Tony Roper in trouble here early. Butch Miller spun, and then Roper had nowhere to go. Miller, a driver who likes the flat tracks. And he's out in front of the race leader. Well, let's show you the aftermath of this one.
It'll come into the screen here in a moment. That black truck is Jay Sauter, the number 3.
Chasing Kevin Harvick. Oops.
Well, it was up in front of him there.
Yep.
As the 31 and the 20 car truck get together and down to the inside of the track. Unfortunately, Mike, they did spin to the inside of the racetrack.
One thing there, as you do start down, we have a unique racetrack when we talk about this. We're talking about them coming down a jump. Actually, you're crossing another racetrack. They have a little 8-mile racetrack on the inside of the big track here, and that's down the part of the, as you see the trucks coming down the hill right there. That's what we're talking about. And if you get on the inside and the guy don't see you and you touch him on the left rear, that's what happens just now.
So we're under the first caution of the day, and it comes out very quickly here at Louisville, and that is no surprise. 14 cautions in this race last year. Not a record, but a lot. There at the exit of turn 1, you see where they pull into the pits, where Butch Miller's crew working on that Chevrolet. Hopefully just sheet metal damage. Let's take another look at what happened here.
Wow, there was no touch there. You're exactly right, Mike. The 20 of Miller got sideways, and Roper just come down there and got collected in the spin.
Now here's Rich Bickle in 17, right side of your screen. Bob Keselowski in 29.
Whoa, yeah, they're doing a little bumping and grinding back there as well. And I assume as they were coming down and things were happening up in front of them, they need to slow down.
Now, one thing you notice when Butch Miller comes in is they pit in here, and the pits are lined up on both sides of this straightaway. Then to exit the pits, you come around the little oval and go back out. Just another unique facet of this racetrack. Now, where those trucks made contact is right there at the inside of the racetrack. They've developed a little rut there down in the dirt where you just saw the 17 drop in there of Rich Bickle, and he may or may not have gotten hit there by Bob Keselowski. Dick Berggren?
Things could not be going worse for Butch Miller. Right now, his crew chief is standing on top of one of the war wagons with his knee in a cast. Orthoscopic surgery this week. His truck out of brakes. They're working underneath the hood, trying to return the brakes to it. He's had 5 tough runs in a row, and this is going to be number 6. Ralph?
Dick, crew chief Jim Daly for Tony Roper said that Tony radioed in and said that Butch lost it in front of him and he had nowhere to go. The front end damage to the number 31 truck appears to be just cosmetic after a quick trip down pit road.
Pace truck pulls in. We get set to go back to green.
Of course, it's all single file on this restart.
And the reason for that, until they make lap traffic 1 lap down, you have to start single file just like you were running on the racetrack.
Battle is for second.
Hensley went high coming into turn 3, and Joe Ruttman was right there to seize the opportunity.
Hornaday the leader, Ruttman in second, Hensley now third, and Rick Crawford. All-pro standout, but the truck rookie on the right side of your screen, and that blue number 14 is for it.
Look how fast Joe Ruttman has caught Hornaday there in second place. You can see he's right on the tailgate as they go around. Ruttman was the fastest truck in the morning practice today.
From Ron Hornaday's truck, Joe Ruttman, you saw him take that little bounce off what Ken Squire called the ski jump between turns 3 and 4. Where the new track meets the old. Mike Wallace spinning, no caution. Back up to speed.
He stays in the lead lap. That's the truck that has the restrictor plate on it. Try to reduce the horsepower.
Now Hornaday builds up just a little bit of a lead. Call it 2, maybe 3 truck lengths.
Mike, what happens there is the spotters, every once in a while, they yell out trouble on the racetrack, and he probably told Ruttman that there was trouble, and he backed off just a little bit, but he's right back where he was a second ago now. That truck is fast.
Mike Wallace stays on the lead lap after that little spin to the infield. And Ruttman is caught right back up on Hornaday's bumper. After Crawford in 4th, Stacy Compton in 5th, Rick Corelli 6th. How about this battle?
And they have been battling, Mike. They've been doing a lot of bumping. Rick Corelli trying to get around Stacy Compton, but it's a difficult track to pass on.
Corelli's had some great finishes these last couple of weeks. 5 of the last 6 have been in the top 10, and he's really come on in late race. Here, for the first time in several weeks, he's up in the top half dozen in the opening laps in that number 6.
He has a lot of experience on the track we'll be at next week watching these trucks run out in Colorado, and it's a short bull ring like this, too. And so he knows how to get around this type of racetrack.
Back behind Corelli, Tony Raines, who started on the outside pole. You're riding with Raines.
This is my favorite shot right here. You want to know what a race car driver sees going down in the corner? This camera captures everything that the driver sees.
Let's listen to Raines for a lap. That ought to tell you just how tough this place is.
3/4 throttle right there. You can hear they're not revving it up.
Yes, Ken Squire said about the only place you get it wide open is when you come past the start finish or coming off the turn 1 there.
be trouble for Kenny Irwin Jr. There's smoke coming out the back of his number 98 Ford. Looks like body rub on the left rear. You may see it here as he goes into the corner.
He's running in 19th position. Well, we'll show you he's had some damage. He's been hit pretty hard on the left rear of that truck. Getting hit again there right now. But you see that damage on the truck right there?
Also, if you'll look on the left rear tire there, you can see the shiny part right around the, just below the gold part. That's the lettering on the side, just out there. The fender is rubbing that tire.
Well, good news, it's not a mechanical problem.
And they expected to have that kind of damage. Maybe not so early in the race.
So Ron Hornaday leads. Joe Ruttman, Jimmy Hensley, Rick Crawford, and Stacy Compton. We'll be right back to Louisville. Second caution of the day comes out of lap 35 in the second pack of trucks. A big dust-up coming over the ski jump toward turn number 4. I don't know why we call it a ski jump. It's 85 degrees out today. But that little drop between turns 3 and 4 is where things packed up and got together and sent Kenny Irwin spinning. Let's show you from Jay Sauter's truck what happened.
Okay, well, you see right there on the inside, the two of Mike Bliss is there. You can see a little contact there. Kenny Irwin gets turned around there as Tammy Jo Kirk in the 7 just got into the left rear corner of him. It was not her fault. It was just a chain reaction.
Looking back from Mike Bliss net.
And you can see that Kenny Irwin got on the inside of the, what was that, the Dokken truck, number 18. And when he slowed, when he backed off to keep from magnifying that contact, well, then Tammy Jo Kirk got into it. Here it is from another view. You can see those two trucks right there getting together. That's Kenny Irwin down on the inside. And here is the 98 truck of Kenny Irwin getting hit by the 7 truck of Tammy Jo Kirk, but that was after what happened up in front of him.
For more on Kenny Irwin, here's Dick Berggren.
Kenny Irwin was in the pits momentarily, and that truck is really torn up, or at least the sheet metal on that truck is really torn up. They changed the flat left front tire, pulled the sheet metal out of the left rear. That was creating some smoke problems. Meanwhile, Tony Roper has come into the pits, and the front end of the last truck they have in their stable is all bashed up. This is the truck they had hoped to take to Colorado next weekend. Roper has lost a lap. Irwin did not. Mike?
Getting set to go back to green, Dick, after this second caution of the day. 2 cautions already in 35 laps.
Irwin did lose a lap on the racetrack before he came into the pits. The leaders came around and passed him while he was sitting there, and he might be a couple laps down by now.
2 laps, Ned. He's 2 laps behind. Brian Cunningham has lost a lap. Roper is 3 laps down.
Good start, no pressure.
Hearing from the spotters as we go back to green. Ron Hornaday leading Joe Ruttman. Jimmy Hensley in 3rd, Rick Crawford in 4th, Stacy Compton in 5th. Good run for those 2 rookies. 6th is Rick Corelli, 7th, Tony Raines, 8th, Brian Repner, 9th is point leader Rich Bickle, and 10th is Boris Said. The leaders get a little bit of breathing room here. 3rd on back, you see it's still very tightly packed.
And there's a bunch of trucks that got some breathing room too, Mike, that were almost a lap down right before this caution came out. There were a lot of trucks that were about to go a lap down, and this gives them a little bit of a reprieve.
Ned, you're exactly right, and that's what triggered that wreck. They were looking in the mirror, and they could see Hornaday coming. Everybody got a little antsy and started making contact.
Hornaday, looking in his mirror, sees that yellow-fronted truck of Joe Ruttman. More on Ron Hornaday. Here's Ralph.
Mike, on lap 9, Ron Hornaday radioed in, said the truck was loose. On lap 39, he radioed back in and said, guys, the track is coming to us. It's starting to tighten up just the way I want it. Looks like they might have guessed right on their setup.
So far, so good for race leader Ron Hornaday.
I'm looking at the 3 truck there of Sauter. He's beginning to smoke a little bit out of the left pipe as he goes in the corner. That's the problem that probably will put him out later on, because when they start smoking like that, you have dust-up problems inside the motor.
Well, he's trying to get inside of Tammy Jo Kirk right now, but he couldn't quite do it. and you might have a little bit of a loss of horsepower, buddy. You see that smoke right there again, and but it doesn't seem to be hurting him right now. But like you say, later on it could come back to haunt him.
Well, if you're going to run on 7 cylinders, this is the place to do it because you got more horsepower than you possibly can ever use.
Sauter inside of Tammy Jo Kirk. Ooh. What a way to treat a lady. He's got him again.
The ideal place to pass, you see Tammy Jo getting under Dan Press going in that corner. If you can get under a truck going in the corner, oh, trouble in turn 2.
Mike Coates has spun. Truck number 15, Penrose truck. No yellow.
Caution. No yellow. Having trouble getting it going again. The 2-time All-Pro Series champ now eases back onto the racetrack. But he's lost a lap.
Boy, it doesn't take long here.
16-second laps at this place. Up front, here's Hornaday in 16, lapping Brian Cunningham. And right with him, Joe Ruttman.
Mike, you can see the slower traffic as they get lapped, they go to the outside because the preferred line on this racetrack is right around the bottom. So instead of moving out of the way to the inside, the truck...
Sauter turns Tammy Jo Kirk around. They had banged together several times, and this time Kirk went spinning at one of the fastest parts of this racetrack.
Boy, she's coming back down, but fortunately she had the wheels cut on the truck, left that inside groove open, so a lot of trucks could go by. She was fortunate not to get hit again.
So Tammy Jo Kirk picks up in line after spinning with Jay Sauter, and that does bring out the 3rd caution of the day. Comes out of lap 52. Well, folks, so far I think the bull is in the lead. Here's what happened.
See Tammy Jo there, and just behind her is Jay Sauter in the 3 truck. They start in the, you can see Jay now, he's coming in pretty hard there. Just a little contact. But it don't take much here because you're already in a turn.
And she almost saves it right there. And then it comes around on her. There's another look.
There it is, just a little bit of a tap, as Buddy says. Didn't take much.
Right there, you can see the contact.
Now it looks like it's awfully hard to catch one of these things once they start to go.
Mike, here's the thing. Right here, she thinks she's got it back. Watch her when she lets off the brake and it turns back up the racetrack there.
And our Econolodge camera from Jay Sauter's truck. Let's see if we can... leaving the scene of the crime. We're under caution for the 3rd time today. CBS Sports coverage of the Louisville 225 will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Just back under green with 59 laps complete here after the 4th caution of the day. Ron Hornaday continues to command this race. Tammy Jo Kirk now finds herself back in 27th position. For Kirk, this is one of her key tracks. She nearly won a 300-lap All-Pro race, led to the white flag lap a year ago before she fell to 2nd. She's got some work to do now, but this is a track where she can get it done. Mike? Thanks, Ken. You're watching Jay Sauter, and you see that smoke continues to pour from Sauter. And you can hear that truck on and off the throttle and get an idea where that's coming in.
Mike, he's on his last leg, it looks like. He's dropping back through the field. He may be doing that to keep from getting black flag. You know, when you're smoking in front of a lot of trucks, they'll put the black flag on you because they think you're hindrance. But you drop back out of that pack, and they'll let you stay out there as long as you're not endangering other people.
Ned, it sounds like when he backs off the throttle, that's when it starts smoking.
They just give him the black flag as he come by just now, Mike.
Yeah, and apparently he's got some oil, something wrong inside the engine on that car, and it's running inside, and that oil, when it off the throttle. Okay, let's find out for sure what is going on. Ralph Shaheen.
Well, unfortunately, Ned, they're not really going to know for sure until they get to take the hood up and take a look inside. They do know that it is leaking some oil, and it's only coming out when he lifts off of the throttle. They have gotten the black flag, and he will be bringing the car around to the attention of the crew. And once they get in here, they'll have an opportunity to figure out why this number 3 truck is actually smoking.
Well, while 3 is smoking, Hornaday is smoking the field. He is taken off from Joe Ruttman.
Well, he got a great jump on the restart, and Joe Ruttman was caught in behind 2 lap trucks. Took him a while to get by them, and Hornaday just jumped out to a nice, comfortable lead. But I think that Ruttman is beginning to close in a little bit, but Ron Hornaday certainly likes that position he's in right now.
One of those 2 trucks was Kenny Irwin Jr. trying to get one of his 2 laps back. Here's your leader, Ron Hornaday, defending champion of this race and the series. Joe Ruttman, who runs in the 2nd place in a Chevy Ford battle here.
There's Timmy Hensley in the 43 Dodge. And just behind him, Rick Crawford.
And just behind Rick Crawford is Stacy Compton in number 86.
And 6, there's Rick Corelli, having a good run here in the early going.
And your outside pole man there, Tony Raines, as he heads down in the yellow truck there.
8th is Rich Bickle, the series point leader.
Ryan Refner there in car number 66. Truck number 66 is in 9th place.
And Kenny Irwin Jr. is 2 laps down after repairing that damage on the left rear quarter.
That's Mike Cope in the 15 truck.
He is 1 lap down. Scott Walters in the 37 was crew chief last week, driver this week. That was the plan all along for Clarence Brewer's team.
That's Bob Keselowski in the 29, and this is Boris Said in the 44.
Then comes Tammy Jo Kirk. Tammy is 1 lap down. And then Chuck Bowen right on her back bumper. Chuck being shown in 13th position.
And in 14th, Jack Sprague in the 24, 2nd in the points. And here's Mike Bliss in the number 2 and 15th spot. And Michael Dokken. Rockin' Dokken, they call him now. More on that later.
Here's Dave Resendez in truck number 35.
And here's Terry Cook. Flat tire on that truck. Pro Bowlers Tour machine.
That left rear was flat. They go to work on it. He'll have trouble getting the jack under it. He's going to have some help around here, guys. Get that jack under it. Okay, he's going to take it back to the back of the truck and get under it. That is going to cost him a lot of time. But see, the truck is so low to the ground right here with that flat tire that the jack simply wouldn't go under it. So he took it back here to put it under at the back of the truck where he had a little more room to work with.
That pit stop will cost Cook 2, maybe 3 laps.
Okay, here's Hornaday. He's getting in lap traffic now. He does not have the open racetrack, but he opened that great big lead up, and it looks like Joe Ruttman in the 80 truck is closing in just a little bit on Ron Hornaday.
Hornaday got a break on this restart when 2 lap trucks split him from Joe Ruttman. They were Kenny Irwin Jr. and Mike Cope, both trying to get a lap back, were unsuccessful in doing so. Trouble, turn 3. It's Mike Bliss against the wall. And Michael Dokken down to the inside of the racetrack.
The 19 there is Mike, or 18 is Michael Dokken.
And Wayne Grubb was involved as well. He comes on around, but a lot of damage to his truck.
Bliss and Dokken were racing for position, and it brings out this 4th caution flag at lap 76.
See the damage on the back of the number 18 truck.
Ooh, there's Wayne Grubb.
Yeah, he's got damage on the left front of his truck.
So it'll be pit stops, open pitting during each half of this race. No tire changes allowed unless the tire is flat, however. They call Michael, the driver of that 18, Rockin' Dokken because he has named his truck Elvis. He says it's a little fat, but it still can sing.
Mike, right here, hanging down behind the Mike Bliss truck, that's the actual rear bumper. Of course, the fiberglass on the back side there, and that stuff dragging the racetrack here, that's the actual webbing that you put inside there to hold the sheet metal off.
Well, let's see what happened here. There's Michael Dokken in the 18, gets into the number 2 truck of Mike Bliss, sends him spinning. Then the 18 truck of Michael Dokken spins down on the inside as well.
Ooh, and Wayne Grubb piles in.
Dave Resendez did a great job in the 35 avoiding that.
Riding with Mike Bliss. Bliss has 3 Truck Series wins, 95 North Wilkesboro, last year Monroe and Odessa, won 7 USAC sprint car races last year, and the USAC Silver Crown title in 1993. Barry Dodson's team goes to work on Mike Bliss, and we'll be back with more from Louisville, Kentucky, right after this word. This week we'll share with you later on. One more look at what happened from Mike Bliss.
Well, the 18 truck of Michael Dawkins tried to get down on the inside. They made contact, and into the wall Mike Bliss goes. And of course Dawkins spun out on the side.
Hard to say who's been the biggest Louisville slugger so far, but
we're going to get some more of it here right now because we're ready to go green flag racing once again.
Ron Hornaday gets a good jump on the restart. He flew away from Joe Ruttman as they came to the flag. Terry Cook trying to get a lap back. Third, Jimmy Hensley. Fourth is Rick Crawford. In fifth, that'll be Stacy Compton. Then Rick Corelli, Tony Raines, and Rich Bickle. 4 cautions so far in just 76 laps. We're not just a little less than 50 laps away from halftime.
And there are just 20 trucks in the lead lap. Some of it because of spins and wrecks, and some of it because Ron Hornaday is running so fast.
Michael Dokken back in the race after a stay for repairs on pit road. For more, here's Ralph.
Boy, Mike, this is very frustrating for Michael Dokken and crew. They've been asking the NASCAR officials why the black flag, and they can't get a word from anybody down here yet as to why. So very frustrating as they're held down here on pit road and no clear answer to them as to why.
You see Ron Hornaday's lead over Joe Ruttman now. He's opened up to about 6 or 7 car lengths, and he got most of that on that restart. Just as we saw at Bristol, Hornaday, when they drop the green, he restarts faster than anybody.
He does get great jumps. He's won races because of his restarting ability. But look at them. That's back here in the middle part of this field. Side by side off the corners there. Rich Bickle is running along there. But the guy that's really doing well, I think, is right there. Jimmy Hensley's running his truck, kind of in a little space by himself, not abusing the truck, does not have a scratch on his jet.
Well, he knows that he needs to stay out of trouble, save that truck for the last half, and he's doing a good job off that.
The 2-point leaders, Bickle is in 8th place, and the 24 of Jack Sprague is in 13th. He got past Dave Resendiz a couple laps ago, and now he goes to work on the Dodge of Bob Keselowski with Chuck Bound just ahead. Sprague did not have a great qualifying run, but he's been picking up spots in the pack. Tough place to pass, though, if the driver in front of you doesn't make a mistake.
Okay, you're looking right now. Jack Sprague is having a terrible time right now. Give him a little chrome horn there to kind of wake him up as they started off in the corner. You see Keselowski's got a little piece of metal dragging just on the back of that truck. Sprague is working him over pretty good right now.
Sprague has come from 19th to 13th. Ned, here you got to show a good bit of patience.
Well, you do have to show a lot of patience because you can mess your truck up and somebody else's so easily.
You know, though, Ned, on this type of racetrack, bumping is a way of life. You just touch them enough to get their concentration off a little bit without turning them sideways. If you can do that, you can get him offline just a little bit and make the pass.
But you wonder if that's maybe some rubber molding that's there as opposed to metal. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I know something's hanging off there, and it won't be long before Jack Sprague will find out what it is if he keeps running that close.
Well, I think he's the cause of it hanging out there right now. He's been bumping, running real close there on him and got that a little bit loose. But right now, it's posing no threat to him or any other driver.
That's fine there. That don't look like anything dangerous at all.
Let's check with Ralph.
Mike, we have now got confirmation on why Dokken was held. The NASCAR officials have alerted the crew that it was involving the incident with Mike Bliss out on the racetrack earlier. And the yellow flag comes out.
Trouble in turn 1. Wayne Grubb goes around.
Doug George also has spun.
There was a third truck involved, but got away. So we're under caution for the 5th time today. at lap 99.
Wayne Grubbs, that's his second try at this. He's had a wreck already and had some damage to the front of the truck. You can see it's beat up pretty good there.
He manages to stay out without losing a lap as we come to the caution flag. 5th one of the day. We'll be back to Louisville Motor Speedway and more bumping and banging after this. We've just come back under green, and we're about a dozen laps to halftime. Jimmy Hensley under Joe Ruttman for second spot. Muscles him up, takes it away.
Ruttman was able to get back down in front of Rick Crawford, though, and hang on to third.
No, it hadn't been just a few laps ago. I was talking about Jimmy Hensley just taking his time, and it looks like the racetrack is coming to the Hensley truck. As you can see, he's able to pull away from Joe Ruttman just a little bit as Ruttman comes down the hill there and down the front straightaway. It looks like the 43 is really moving well now.
Jimmy Hensley came so close to giving Dodge its first series win a year ago. He's on a tear here in second place in chase of Ron Hornaday.
And Hornaday got himself another great start and just moved away from the field, just sitting out there running his own pace.
Duck George has come to pit road. Here's what Boris said saw of that last incident. Look at behind him. Round they go. Doug George has since come to the pit area, joining Jay Sauter.
Boris said, "I'm glad I'm 4 trucks up the way there."
For more on Boris said, Dick Berggren.
Mike Boris was in the pits just a few laps ago, and this pit area has been a very busy place. And most of the visits have been for just the same reason as Boris, to try and fix body damage. His crew put that 200-mile-an-hour tape, I guess here's what, 120-mile-an-hour tape?
Right.
The back end of the truck to try to keep the tailgate on. He's got sheet metal flopping all over the place on that thing. Mike?
Thanks, Dick. Boris said, well in it. Not worried about that tailgate. Battle for third place as Rick Crawford in number 14 comes up to challenge Joe Ruttman.
And Ruttman keeps the pressure on Jimmy Hensley.
Now, Rick Crawford in the 14, the blue truck there, has made 2 or 3 attempts, even on the outside. You can see him moving up on the 80 truck there. And Ruttman, right at the moment, I think if Rick could get by him, he would pull right on up on Hensley's truck, because he seems to be a little quicker at the moment.
You're watching from second place Jimmy Hensley. The yellow truck is Ruttman. The blue one is Rick Crawford.
Whoa, you can see a little tap there as they started through the corner.
Right behind them, Stacy Compton and Rick Corelli.
We're getting close to that point when we'll have the halfway point.
Not a moment too soon for some of these trucks to repair damage. Here's Ruttman to the inside. Nothing there. Halfway this time. This is the halfway lap. Next lap, the caution will come out for halftime. Ron Hornaday coasts around turn 3 and toward turn 4. Here's this second place battle. Caution waves on Hornaday. And at halftime, Hensley will be second, Ruttman third, Crawford fourth. 5th is Compton, 6th Corelli. 7th, Raines, the outside pole sitter. 8th is Rich Bickle, the point leader. 9th is Brian Refner. And 10th, rookie Scott Walters. 11th is Chuck Bound. 12th is Jack Sprague. 13th is Dave Resendiz. 14th is Mike Wallace up from the back of the field. 15th, Bob Keselowski. Then Boris Said, rookie Kevin Harvick, and Dan Prest. Those are the trucks on the lead lap as we go to halftime. So the trucks will pull into pit for service and tires. There's Jimmy Hensley pulling in the second place truck. We'll be back with halftime and more from Louisville Motor Speedway after this.
Halftime at the Louisville Motor Speedway. Ron Hornaday dominating, trying to win it for the second year in a row. The first year he was here, he was awful. He finished 8 laps down in a 200-lap race. But he learned from it. He came back. He bridled that fervor that he has and drove a masterful race to win this event a year ago. So he's down in the pits with all the rest as they prepare for the second half. And let's get ready for the action and check in the pits right now with Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, in the first half of this show, Ron Hornaday and his truck Melissa led all 114 laps. Ron, what are you going to do to Melissa, or are you going to leave her the way she is?
Last time we touched something like this, we lost out. We ain't going to touch the truck. The Napa Chevrolet's running awesome, and we just had to free her up. You know, Gordy Arbiter built me this special transmission again, put her in fourth gear, never turned the RPM, and it really works. I keep trying to tell everybody here what we've been doing, and nobody can believe us. But Napa Chevrolet's awesome. I got to thank Dennis Fisher and all the guys back in the shop. Really put a good truck together again.
You want to tell us what you've been doing?
Well, they can watch the inside camera. It's run her in third gear a couple times, get her loosened up, and put it in fourth gear and get the front tire hot. But transmission, road course experience is coming through here.
Race setups and techniques courtesy of Ron Hornaday, and we'll run right across over here to the man who has been chasing him all day long, the driver of the number 43 Dodge, Jimmy Hensley. Jimmy, you're running in second. What changes will you make to your truck?
Well, we're a little bit too tight, Ralph. We tried to loosen it up a little bit with the air pressure, see how that works. You know, we're not real bad, but we don't want to make a drastic change and then go the wrong way, so we just fool with air pressure a little bit, see if we can get a little better.
For the story at the other end of pit road, here's Dick Bergman.
Joe Ruttman started third. He is running third. Back into this thing's bashed up, but that was practice. How rough is it out there today?
Dick, it's real rough. We started out pretty good, but we got too much of a push in it. So we're going to try to get it, you know, leveled out and make the right rear do a little bit more work. And it's kind of an educated guess is what it brews down to. And Ron's real good, so it's going to take some help on us to stay up with him. There's no question about it.
You got a big sweat going. How hot is it in these trucks today, Joe?
No, it's not warm in here. It's nice.
Let's go back to Rick Crawford. He is currently running in fourth spot. Come on with me. Rick has run here before, but never in one of the trucks. How is this thing running, Rick?
Not too bad. Circle Bar Motel and RV Park 4 is running fourth right now, and we had a shot at Hensley one time, bumped him in the butt, and then he got by Ruttman, and we bumped him in the butt a little bit, but unless you catch somebody in a mistake or something, it's really hard to pass out here. But like I say, Circle Bar Motel and RV Park Ford from Ozona, Texas, doing really well. And we'd like to say hello to Bill Wilson's family out there. Our prayers is with you. We really appreciate being friends with everybody out there.
The driver's doing a good job today as well. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Currently eighth is the man who leads the points, and the number 17, Rich Bickle. Rich, how's it going out there, and what changes did you make?
Well, I'll tell you, this is like the fourth setup they give us, truck. And actually, we're better right there. We've been all the time since we unloaded, so we're still really tight. Push, push, push. And the track's starting to come apart a little bit, so that's making it kind of hairy getting into 3 and then off into 1 there. But we made some changes, and I'd like to probably pull the top 5 out of the steel if we can.
Dick Bergman?
Jack Sprague has got the foot up on his truck. What's the matter?
We're just changing the shocks. Quaker State Chevrolet's a little loose, believe it or not, but it's slowly going forward. Hopefully we can get closer to the front for the end of this thing.
Okay, Jack Sprague. Right now the officials are out in the fourth turn area looking at a little hole that's developing. To Ken Squire.
Countdown is on to get it resumed. 250 laps of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Racing here on CBS today. Stay with us for the second half. It's going to be a dandy.
This summary is sponsored by Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
Field organizing for the second half. In the first half, 114 laps complete. It's been all Ron Hornaday dominating at over 71 miles per hour. Cautions 6 for 29 laps compared to last year, a total of 11 for some 70 laps out here. And 2 have retired from the race. Butch Miller has crashed out of it. Robbie Pyle's transmission broke. There's a story developing on the track, and Dick Bergman has it.
There is a bit of a hole that's developing in turn 4. I'm with NASCAR's Dennis Huth. What's going on, and what will you do to fix it, Dennis?
Well, it's, you know, there's a tremendous heat out here right now, and with the radial tires and adhesion and everything, it's one of those things that you never know what's going to happen until it happens. And I mean, it is hot down here, as you can feel right now. So what they're doing is putting down a little bit of cement dust, and we're trying to keep the temperature of the track down just a little bit. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll keep an eye on it, though.
They're doing a good job with the cement. Track temperature has risen to 134 degrees today.
That's as hot as Ron Hornaday. A year ago, it was Mike Bliss dominating this race. Remember, we started in rain and cloudiness, and then it began to brighten for the fans and for Hornaday, who came on to win in the second half. Can anybody beat him today? That's the major question that this just about sellout house is waiting to find out. Let's go back to the booth. Mike?
Well, Ken, it hasn't been the crash fest we feared, but it has certainly been an action-packed race. First, Ned, did we see the kind of race that we expected?
I think we have seen the kind of race we expected, and the fans that are here, too. They've seen some good racing, but also a lot of beating and banging, which you come to expect on this type of racetrack.
Buddy, what I'm really appreciative of, and maybe a little surprised at, is the patience these drivers have shown, not getting into each other and keeping their trucks pointed in the right direction.
Well, the guys that are up front right now, they got track position at the start of the race and was not in all the mess behind them. Right now, track position is everything. These guys are going to have to get to the front to stay out of trouble.
Second half is coming up. CBS Sports coverage of the Louisville 225 continues after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste, AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts, and by Pert Plus, the shampoo that conditions too, for simply great hair. Simply.
They've just dropped the green flag for the second half. Trucks on the outside lane lead lap trucks down to the inside. And here comes Ruttman inside for second place on Jimmy Hensley.
Well, Hensley was trying to get around the left truck of Terry Cook. Couldn't do it on the outside. It opened up the inside, and that let Ruttman go by. And here comes Rick Crawford.
As these guys fight it out, Rick Crawford is just there on Ruttman, right on the left rear corner. Hornaday got a great start on the restart. He has about a 20-truck left lead up right now.
Crawford is the blue number 14. During halftime, he mentioned Bill Wilson. Oh, trouble on Bob Keselowski, who has spun at turn 4. He gets away, no caution. Back on Rick Crawford, he mentioned Bill Wilson, who passed away this week, the longtime team manager for Tom Mitchell. And there's Crawford sliding up the racetrack. He was trying to get around the outside of Keselowski, and that didn't work.
Oh, he got out there. There's a little bit of tire buildup on the outside. The gray part of the racetrack there has a lot of debris in it. You get out there, you're going to get sideways.
Hensley to the inside.
Trying to get that position back, but couldn't quite do it there.
Hensley's able to keep that low line. As you see Rick Crawford there in the 14, can't hold him off. Here comes Hensley as they head into turn 1.
That's pretty impressive, guys, that they're running side by side that far around the racetrack. But now Crawford gets the advantage back.
I wonder if Crawford maybe likes that.
Oh, he's in trouble. He's sideways into the outside wall there.
He simply just came around there too fast, got those right side tires up in that loose stuff you were talking about, buddy, and could not bring it back.
And what a tense moment for point leader Rich Bickle. As Crawford slid back down the racetrack, it opened up just enough of a hole for Bickle to make it by on the outside. 7th caution of the day. What a tough break for Rick Crawford, all-pro veteran, and until this moment, the number 2 rookie on this tour.
Well, he's got quite a bit of damage to his circle bar truck.
Got a lot of metal flapping around there. He'll have to come in the pits and get that off.
Here's what happened. He was out in that high groove by himself.
Okay, you can see the back of the truck right here get real loose on him. He's really not that far out in the grade, just enough to make that truck extremely loose, hard into the outside wall. The miracle was how many trucks went by him here without hitting him.
Look at Bickle on the right side. Boom. Took the right lane. If he tried to go down, he would have been into Crawford. Rick Crawford is still on the lead lap. Now, what happened earlier to Bob Keselowski? Let's watch from Boris Said's truck.
The 29 there's Keselowski on the outside. A little nudge there from Boris Said as they head down. Another nudge from Boris Said, and around goes Keselowski.
Remember last week in Milwaukee where Boris had the note on the dashboard where Mike Kelly wanted this girl to marry him? I got some email this week from Kelly's mom down in Florida that the two of them are all excited. Mike had been trying to get that proposal made for a couple of weeks, was happy to get it done with our help, and they'll keep the CBS tape for years. And Bonnie says maybe show it to their kids.
All right.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Rick Crawford has been in the pits for a fairly long period of time, and he wanted to leave before the guys were ready to really let him go. And the truck was up on the jack. Crawford hit the gas. Boom, he just drove the truck right off the jack, busted a corner off the jack. He's going to have real problems, Mike, because the spoiler in the back of that truck, none of the stuff that holds that up in the air is still there. It's all broken apart.
We're getting set for this restart, Dick. Ron Hornaday continues to lead. Joe Ruttman, Jimmy Hensley, and Stacy Compton. Have you seen a truck like this driving around San Antonio, Texas? Charles Hardy tells me the show truck was stolen on Thursday.
Really?
Somewhere out in Breckenridge Park or along the Riverwalk, there's somebody driving a low-riding pickup that looks like a NASCAR truck. It is. Call us at CBS if you see it. But they lost their show truck Thursday. And Larry the Lizard did not get fired after Milwaukee. We thought he might lose his job, but there he is, riding along with Dave Rezendi.
Something must be working. He's still here with all the wrecks today.
I think he's got his eyes closed. At least I hope so. We're back to green. And again, Ron Hornaday restarts and rockets away. He looks like a matador with a bull chasing him because he is out there and gone.
Well, you see Bob Keselowski a lap down there running in front of the second-place truck of Ruttman. Now, that's really holding Ruttman and these guys up a little bit.
And Rick Crawford's been black flagged, flapping sheet metal.
Crawford only lost one lap during that pit stop. He was in the pits for a while, as Dick Berggren reported, but he only went one lap down according to scoring, but he's going to have to come back in.
Yeah, the problem, look at the rear spoiler. You're required to have 55-degree rear spoiler. He's got almost none.
Caution is out. Might be some debris up in turn 4 is what we're told. Oh, Mike Bliss doesn't have a lot under that rear spoiler either.
And almost got it pushed up a little more just then as Dawkins come running in behind him.
Same truck he was involved with earlier.
He's got a lot of spoiler, but part of it doesn't have a lot of support under it.
Dick Berggren.
Crawford is back in again. Well, he was back in again, and he's back out again, but he has not been staying in here long enough for the crew to really do any substantial work to his truck. The biggest problem he is faced with is that back spoiler, and a lot of sheet metal that's just flopping around back here.
Thanks, Dick. There was a piece of sheet metal up in turn number 4. That was the reason for the caution. It was lying up in the high groove. Tonight on CBS, Nancy Kerrigan, Elvis Stoico, Oksana Bayul, and many other top skaters take to the ice in Too Hot to Skate from Santa Cruz, California, followed by Walker, Texas Ranger. That's all tonight on CBS. Let's watch Ron Hornaday on this restart. That piece of debris fell off Wayne Grubb's truck.
Watch his feet. Watch the action down here. On the brakes, then on the gas.
You did notice no clutch.
Exactly. Jericho transmission, he just went through the gears, his left foot was on the brake, jerked it back into gear and gone.
Man. And most drivers will hit that brake just a little bit right before they gas it, hoping that truck right behind them will have to back off a little bit. Boy, he's a master.
Hornaday the leader. Joe Ruttman is second. Jimmy Hensley is third. And now Stacy Compton moves up into the 4th spot. Great run for Compton, the Virginia driver. Rick Corelli in the top 5. Tony Raines, the outside pole sitter, is 6th. And up to 7th comes Brian Refner. Rich Bickle remains 8th. Scott Walters, great run in 9th.
Keselowski trying everything to get a lap back here. He's up under Hornaday, went to the outside look, went on the inside. Ruttman right there in second place in the yellow truck, trying to get by.
Hornaday won this race last year. Remember, he led all 200 laps at Bristol, trying to lead 225 of them today. But here comes Ruttman in the 80s. Ruttman and now Hensley clear themselves of Keselowski.
Keselowski is 16th, one lap down.
Rick Corelli had a look under Stacy Compton, but nothing there as they come up on lap trucks. There's that battle for 4th place. And a little further back, 8th place, Rich Bickle, number 17. The point leader could get a $10,000 bonus today if he holds that point lead at the end of the race. Corelli in number 6. Now, in the last 3 weeks, he has come on strong in the last half or last quarter of the race. But today, Rick Corelli has been in the top half dozen all day long. He's currently 5th and looking for 4th.
Now, Stacy Compton raises his foot off the accelerator at the wrong place there. He'll have a passenger up in the tailgate of that truck. I guarantee you, Rick Corelli is putting some heat on it.
Stacy Compton, Virginia driver with the hay. Number 4, Wayne Grubbs.
Straightaway between turns 1 and 2 is where Wayne Grubb is involved in his 3rd caution of the day, 9th one on the racetrack. This, folks, is the only track we go to where the straightaways are between turns 1 and 2, and then again between turns 3 and 4. So it's a little disorienting.
Yeah.
Well, the bull gets 1. Nothing for Wayne Grubb today. Tough break for the rookie, and we'll be back to Louisville after this. This is next Saturday, the Colorado 250 for these same Craftsman trucks, 3:30 Eastern Time. Then the Busch Grand National cars hit the new Gateway International Raceway at St. Louis, July 21 o'clock Eastern. And the very next day, the Indy Racing League Indy cars take on Charlotte Motor Speedway, 1 o'clock Eastern Time Sunday, July 27th. Ralph?
Fred Graves is a crew chief for Ron Hornaday. Fred, are you surprised at how easily you're leading here today?
No, Ron Hornaday is just awesome on these little tracks like this. It's a very difficult track to drive, and he's a finesse driver, and he's getting the job done today, that's for sure.
And Mikey has led all 142 laps so far here today.
Thanks, Ralph. We're back under green. And once again, Hornaday just scoots away.
You know, Ruttman in second has to feel good. Although Hornaday got a great start, he didn't have lap traffic to concern himself with. You see the second place truck there, Ruttman.
Hornaday, drive away. Look at the lead he's building, just 2.5 laps. Now here's Jimmy Hensley in 3rd. And it's quite a gap back to Stacy Compton, Rick Corelli, Tony Raines, Brian Repner, and Rich Bickle.
Yeah, those trucks did not get the break in the lap traffic that those 3 up front got.
There's that fight. There's Corelli on the outside, lapping past Mike Cope. He's got Tony Raines, the yellow truck, right with him.
Mike Cope is in the 17th position, 1 lap down.
There's Scott Walters, the Louisville driver, having a great run.
He's up to 9th now.
Then it's Jack Sprague and Dave Rezendes. And you're watching from Tony Raines ahead to Rick Corelli.
There they come down the jump into turn on the front straightaway there. You can see them heading into turn 1 right on the white line. Now they go out against the wall as they head down.
Big trouble in the front straightaway.
Mike Wallace is involved.
That's Brian Cunningham, the truck with its back to you. They were late piling in. Dave Rezendes has just pulled to the pit area. Big damage from Rezendes. Now Rezendes was on the outside. He had just been passed by Chuck Bound and somehow made contact with another truck. And Brian Cunningham spun in the middle of it, and boy, you see him putting his window net down. That's a good sign that this 3rd-generation racer is okay. His dad, Briggs Jr., raced sports cars, and his grandfather, of course, Briggs Cunningham, won the America's Cup yachting, took American-built race cars to Le Mans in the 50s, was quite a sportsman, is quite a sportsman, and tough break for Brian today.
They live in Kentucky, Lancaster, Kentucky.
Mom and Dad are here.
Yeah, I talked to them this morning.
Helping to run this race team. They're great folks, and fortunately, Brian is okay. Now, here's what happened to Dave Rezendes. He got piled into after the initial contact in the Charles Hardy truck, number 35.
Mike Wallace is also in the pits right now. He has a lot of damage to his truck also.
That's Brian Cunningham. He is okay. Well, let's see what happened here. There's Bound underneath Rezendes. Ooh.
Well, Mike Wallace and Brian Cunningham were just victim circumstances there. They had nowhere to go as they came off the turn.
Yeah, once Rezendes got sideways on the front straightaway, he had most of the racing surface, you see there, blocked, and here comes Wallace right into him.
Looked like Rezendes' truck just got out a little bit wide, similar to what Rick Crawford did there a little bit earlier, where they had some help to get out there. I'm not sure, but
I think Chuck Bound was pretty well past him when it started. Yeah. Now, here's what Boris said had to go through to miss this.
Yeah, you can see the yellow truck, the number 35 of Resendez, was out there sort of by himself, and the back end just went around on him.
Mike, it's nice to be lucky, too. Boris said this happened to be on the real estate. There wasn't anything going on.
Unlucky was Brian Cunningham. And we're under caution for the 10th time today at lap 148. We'll be right back to Louisville for more after this. They've just waved the green flag for the restart after this 10th caution of the day. Same picture. Ron Hornaday steps out from the field, but this time I think Joe Ruttman's a little closer to him than on that last restart. Jimmy Hensley is third. Running in fourth, Stacy Compton. Fifth, Rick Corelli. Sixth, Tony Raines. Seventh, Brian Repner. And eighth, point leader Rich Bickle.
Yeah, Stacy Compton and those trucks are the ones that are really getting hurt on these restarts with the lap traffic. They just simply can't get out in front of them.
Let's take one more look at what brought out this 10th caution of the day. Listen to this.
Came right out in your living room almost, didn't it?
For more on the incident, here's Ralph.
Well, Mike, the damage was pretty much as you would expect. A lot of bodywork being removed and moved away from the tires that were still on the truck. Dave Resendez changed a right front and a left rear, and Mike Wallace changed the left front. Both trucks back out of the racetrack.
The only casualty was Brian Cunningham, who you saw walked away from his truck after that incident. Joe Ruttman has caught the race leader. As you watch this battle for fourth place, Stacy Compton with Rick Corelli and Tony Raines, the yellow truck. And they're up front. You see Ruttman, number 80, has caught the leader, and Hensley's right there as well.
I was just looking at Hensley. He's still doing the very thing you have to do to win here. He's keeping that truck under control, saving those tires. You see him right there in third spot, the red truck. He's much in contention right now.
Ron Hornaday has led every lap, but don't let you think he has this race in the bag.
I'm sure he looks up in his rearview mirror and thinks that, no, I don't have this thing sewed up by any means.
Look at Ruttman's truck dance around.
Yeah, you're riding here with Hensley, and you can hear him pick the throttle up. Listen to it as he starts down, kind of ease out the throttle right there, and now he'll start accelerating down the front straightaway. He's a master of a slick track.
Well, Wayne Grubb has lost the bullfight today, Dick Berggren.
It was his first ever trip to Louisville, Mike Joy, and he is going to remember it. The truck is bent on all four corners. What happened?
I tell you, it's a tight little racetrack here in Louisville. It's a shame for the Link Belt Construction Equipment truck. You know, we were running pretty decent, but, you know, as the race goes on, it gets a little bit of loose stuff right there at the top of the track, and we know just when you get too wide, you slide up in it just a little bit, and you're in it, and you're in the wall. It's a shame for us.
How tough is it out there today?
It's real tough. Track in the sun is real slick. You got to pedal it all the way down the back straightaway. You're nothing but in the gas and in the brake the whole time, and the track's just, all the trucks are just sliding around a lot, and everybody's just really holding on and racing the track.
A lot of beat-up trucks out there, Mike Joy.
That's for sure, Dick. Dave Resendez goes to the pit area as we watch the race for fourth place. Left side of your screen, number 86, Stacy Compton. 6, Rick Corelli in red, white, and blue. In yellow is Tony Raines, and in red and white, Brian Repner. Now, for more on fourth place, Stacy Compton, let's go topside, Ken Squire.
This is certainly Compton's finest performance today as you watch him here in the fourth position. He's been running for Rookie of the Year, and everybody keeps talking about Kenny Irvin, but they're going to be talking about Compton after today's race. Compton has had an outstanding run in this one. Irwin is the leading rookie, and oh, we've got one in the wall down in turn number 1, Mike.
Doug George in a tough pack of traffic. Tammy Jo Kirk had been muscling Brian Repner on the inside, and further back in that pack, Doug George ended up in the wall.
Mike, Doug George is very hurt from a wreck in Bristol. He's just now getting pretty well. He just threw away his crutches this week. He said he went from 4 to 2 again, but look up in the wall.
I hope he didn't throw him too far. I hope he's okay. Former Winston West champion. Big pack of traffic, and he ended up in the fence for the 11th caution flag of the day. Comes out of lap 169. And the window net's down, so that's the signal to the safety crew that he's okay.
Well, let's see if we can figure out what happened to him. Running in a pack of traffic, up on the outside, those left-right wheels get up in that loose stuff, buddy, right there.
Yeah, you can see where the truck broke loose, and that's all rubber dust on the outside there. You can see where it cleaned the pavement as the truck slid through that rubber dust.
Safety crews talking to Doug George. Dick Berggren.
Randy Goss is crew chief for Joe Ruttman, who's been riding second for much of this day. You've been chasing that 16 truck all day. A little over 50 laps to go. Can you beat him?
Well, I think our truck's as good as his, but you never know with Hornaday. You know, he looks kind of erratic sometimes, but he usually hangs on. I'm thinking if we get a long run, some of these lappers get strung out, and I think we can beat them.
What's your strategy? How are you going to do that?
Well, we got to stay out of trouble for another 55 laps, and we'll see.
And that's the key for anybody who wants to win this thing today, Mike. Stay out of trouble.
Absolutely, Dick. There's been plenty of it. This is the 11th caution flag of the day, counting the one for halftime. Ron Hornaday leads Joe Ruttman. CBS Sports coverage of the Louisville 225 continues after this message and a word from your local station. Getting set for the restart. Brian Cunningham is back in the race. Doug George is okay. We're back under green, and again, Ron Hornaday rockets away from the field. This time he has the lap truck of Mike Cope, splitting himself from Joe Ruttman, the second place truck. Here's that battle for fourth. Stacy Compton just ahead of Rick Corelli and Tony Raines. Sifting through the lap traffic is very tough here. Ralph Shaheen, how's Doug George?
Well, let's ask him. Doug, what happened, and are you okay?
Well, I was pretty sore before I got here, and that didn't help any, but Rotary Chevrolet was doing good. We got a stop-and-go penalty for moving out into the inside lane to get some air into the radiator because our fan wasn't working, and that pretty much messed our day up, but all the guys at Rotary left. Did a great job for us. We just got hung up on the outside there, got in the loose stuff, and got in the fence.
Doug, how would you describe it out there today?
It's a handful, man. Every lap's a handful. Not a lot of groove out there. You need to be on the bottom, and it's a tough racetrack.
Doug George, good driver. He's out for the day. Been with two different teams this year now. A lot of jostling toward the back of this pack, but up front, it's all Ron Hornaday.
Mike Jimmy Hensley's having a terrible time in third place there, trying to get by Mike Cope. They've been side by side for 4 or 5 laps. Look what a gap they have right now, trying to get in by himself there. Look how much the tire is going there back and forth through the corners. You can see how much flex is in the sidewall of the tire right in this area right here. Look at it move around. There's your spring on the right front corner. Ned, you can point out some other stuff there.
Of course, here's the lower A-frame on the truck. Up here's the upper control arm, and your ball joint would be right in there. You can see there is a lot of action on the chassis of the truck, even on a short track like this.
Trouble, turn 2. Rick Corelli and Brian Reffner get together. Corelli moves on. Reffner is in the fence.
They were running 5th and 6th.
Ooh, he's just about torn the left front off, number 66. Brian Reffner had a good run going. He was in 6th place. But now this 12th caution flag comes out at lap 182.
Well, that is a tough break for last year's rookie.
Kenny Irwin comes out after a pit stop. As the track crews go out after Brian Reffner, there's the damage to the front of Rick Corelli's truck.
And Rich Bickle went right in between the two as they hit. He has been lucky all day in the Darrell Waltrip truck, the number 17. Rich Bickle has been lucky.
There is Brian Reffner. He is okay. Tony Roper comes pit side, joining Bob Keselowski. As Reffner climbs out. Reffner and Corelli were racing hard for 5th spot behind Stacy Compton, but there was a lot of lap traffic in the middle of that pack. That may have had something to do with the incident. Well, let's find out.
You can can see Corelli right by himself there, spins around as he goes through there. Brian Refner goes right into the left front corner and puts him into the outside wall. Look at Bickle go to the inside there. He's living a charmed life today.
Yep. All right, here we go. Corelli on the trying to get on the outside of Stacy Compton.
And gets in the loose stuff again. We several wrecks today. That's what happened.
Boy, you get that right wheel out there just a foot too far and get in that loose stuff, and away she goes. And Brian Refner was just really a victim of circumstances.
From Tony Raines, Pennzoil Dodge. Whoa.
You can see Refner trying to dodge there, but he couldn't make the right move. Maybe there wasn't a move that he could have made that would have helped him. Probably not.
And it knocked the left front off of Refner's truck. Now, the loose stuff we're talking about is what comes off the tires, what's worn off the tires. And there you see in turn one, the loose stuff and, a few little bits of fiberglass here and there as well.
You can actually see a part of the tire right here that was torn off.
And that's just all rubber dust up there.
And it's just like marbles. You get on it with those tires that do not have grooves on them. They're slick tires. And when you get on that, boy, it just takes off.
There's Kenny Irwin, who's just come out of the pits. Earlier this week, the Robert Yates Racing Team announced Ernie Irvin won't return to that Winston Cup operation next season. Already, there's plenty of speculation as to who will replace Irvin. And one of the names that's floated to the top of that list is Kenny Irwin.
That's really just what it is. It's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, because right now I don't have anything from anybody. And there's 2 or 3 teams that are talking to me that I'm very interested in. So, you know, right now I don't, right now I'm just running truck.
Here's Ken Squire.
One of the guys to watch now is Mike Wallace. He started 31st. He's up to 11th when he came here. He was in terrible shape. He's gotten better and better. Sent a letter down to sent an email down to Kenny Schrader, who's on the pole at Loudon, New Hampshire, congratulating him, said that was the good news. The bad news is they had to take a provisional. But they've got it working now and working beautifully. They're ready to crack the top 10 as we go back to green.
Mike Wallace still on the lead lap, Ken, as we get the green flag. 40-some laps to go here at Louisville. Tony Raines under Stacy Compton, left side of your screen, trying to make that bid and move up into the top 5.
He's got a run on him down on the inside, coming off the turn.
Boy, Stacy Compton fights back hard on the outside. You can see Raines didn't make that pass, even though he was down under him.
Would you believe in that whole big spin, Rick Corelli only lost 1 position. He's still 6th in truck number 6.
He has a tremendous amount of damage to the left front corner of that truck.
For more on Rick Corelli, Dick Berggren.
Mike, 5 out of Rick Corelli's last 6 starts have resulted in top 10 finishes. He wants another one of those today. Crew chief Rick Wren went right to the edge of the racetrack, looked over the damage, said, it's probably okay. All that flopping stuff is just fiberglass. Kenny Irwin is spinning on the racetrack now, so Corelli is going to stay out there as long as he can. The steering is off in that truck, however.
Brian Cunningham and Rick Corelli got together, with Cunningham spinning around. That reverse rotation on the engine put some unburnt fuel down in the pipe, and that was the flames you saw when he fired it back up. Caution comes out for the 13th time today, shy of the record.
And of course, Kenny Irwin was caught up in that. He's had a tough day here today with his number 98 truck. Been at the wrong place at the wrong time,
right.
Too many times.
12 trucks on the lead lap. Ron Hornaday, Joe Ruttman, Jimmy Hensley, Stacy Compton, and Tony Raines are the top 5. Rick Corelli, Rich Bickle, Mike Wallace is now up to 8th. Jack Sprague is 9th, and Boris Said is 10th. How about Kevin Harvick? Only his 2nd race in a truck. He also ran Tucson. And the little fellow who started at age 5 in go-karts is up to 11th. And Scott Walters is 12th. Had a little fire down in the grass there for Brian Cunningham's truck, quickly extinguished. And we get set to go back to green. Ralph is with Brian Refner.
Brian, what happened to you out there?
Well, I didn't see Rick Corelli getting spun early enough, and I tried to go high, and it just wasn't enough room, and clipped the front end of him and sent us in a wall. It's too bad because the Carlin Ford was running decent. It's kind of the way our whole year's gone, you know. We have a good run, something happens, but yeah, I was racing or 6th or 7th there. It's just a shame, you know, 'cause we really needed a good finish today, and we just have to go back and get them next week.
Fourth place in the battle, Tony Raines trying to muscle inside of Stacy Compton. He's done it.
He finally made the move, but Compton gave him a little shot there as they started going back in the corner. There was a little contact between the two of them for position there.
That's 4th and 5th. Looking from 4th place, Tony Raines. Back at 5th place, Stacy Compton. Rick Corelli is 6th. And point leader Rich Bickle up to 7th.
And Jack Sprague right on his back bumper in 8th place now.
And going past Rick Corelli is point leader Rich Bickle. Up into 6th now. Corelli, I think the left front got knocked. The toe out on Rick Corelli's truck. It's just not handling like it was.
Mike, if nothing else, the way that fender's bent back there, that would tend to lift the truck off the racetrack. So that left front's definitely hurting him.
Jack Sprague puts the pressure to Corelli now, who tries to hang on to 7th place.
Boy, look at the damage on the left front of Rick Corelli's truck.
You know, Ned, we talk about these trucks and all. They're running over 100 miles an hour here, so the air would pick up on that truck and really make it tough to turn left.
Sure. Sprague trying for a look, and here's a guy that's flying, Tony Raines. Just dispatched the lap truck of Mike Culp, and I think he's got a good shot to run down the front 3 before this one's over.
He is on the move. It took him a long, long time to get by Stacy Compton, but now Compton having trouble getting around the 15, and Rich Bickle is right there with Stacy Compton as we see them get down on the grass there coming in through turn 3.
25 laps to go. Let's go to Tony Raines' pit and Ralph.
Mike, 2 things on Tony Raines to help drive him towards the checkers here today. He loves the heat. He feels very confident when he comes outside, and it's absolutely sweltering. The other thing is he sets a carrot out for himself. He loves peanut M&Ms. He'll buy himself a big bag, but he won't touch it until the race is over. If he does well, he might devour the whole bag. Today, it might just be a pile of melted chocolate and peanuts.
Inside of 25 to go, and Bickle is underneath Stacy Compton. And Sprague gets a shot from Rick Corelli. That brought everybody to their feet.
That's a real crunch to the 6th truck. You see him now just getting up to speed. I'm not sure the left front tire might be going flat on him.
Looks like it, buddy.
Yeah,
looks like
flat.
Corelli is flat on the left front.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yep, he's going to come into the pits on the rim, and Rick Corelli's string of top 10 finishes looks like he'll have to start a new one next week. Tough break for the Denver, Colorado driver. We'll go to his home track, though, next Saturday. Here's what happened.
You can see the 24 Sprague right underneath Corelli as they come off. You see Jack Sprague really gaining fast there. He makes contact right there. You can see the back of the truck get light as they start off the corner. He stayed with him there. Now watch Corelli as he comes off. He comes back into the right rear corner of Sprague.
And I think that sheet metal right there maybe went in and cut the tire on Corelli's truck when he got back into Sprague.
Now, in Corelli's defense, there's no way from his seat that he can see how bad that sheet metal was before that happened. Up front, Ron Hornaday's led every lap. You see his mirror view of Joe Ruttman. 3rd is Jimmy Hensley. 4th is Tony Raines. Rich Bickle is now up in the top 5, ahead of Stacy Compton, Jack Sprague, Scott Walters, and Mike Wallace. 18 laps to go in Louisville. We'll be right back with a finish.
Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Mobil 1 100% synthetic motor oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
After 213 laps, Ron Hornaday's been the only leader. 13 caution flags for 65 laps, 8 trucks out of the race. There's a list of the DNF so far, including front runners Jay Sauter out early today. And Brian Refner caught up in that last crash. We stay under green, but while we were away, Rick Corelli got repairs made to his number 6 truck, and then he and Jack Sprague got together again.
Yeah, Sprague on the outside, and Steve, they're going to hit one more time here, and around Sprague is going to go. It takes part of the back end off of Sprague's truck. He makes a 360, keeps getting it, no caution flag. Of course, Rick Corelli was black flag. He's been in the pits for a while. And you see this tailgate that'll come off of Corelli's truck. You see how loose it is right there. and he goes on around the racetrack, and it flies off. But it's up out of the groove, no harm done. See, it's just got a little open air place back there.
NASCAR decided the contact was not accidental. They put Rick Corelli in the penalty box for 15 seconds. Next time by will be 5 laps to go as Lindy Hornaday looks on. Husband Ron hoping for his second trip in a row to Louisville Victory Lane.
Mike, there's a lot of lap traffic in front of him here. Anything can happen, and I guarantee you Joe Ruffin is flying in second spot trying to catch him.
For the Jack Sprague fans, he lost a couple of positions. He's currently in 8th place, but he's still on the lead lap.
11 trucks now on the lead lap with 3 to go. Hornaday, heavy traffic, laps Kevin Harvick, and here's Ruttman.
That was the 11th place truck, Kevin Harvick. So now there are 10 trucks on the lead lap. Ruttman tries to get by.
Mike Bliss just ahead of the race leaders.
There's Chuck Bowen in the truck 99. He's had a lot of problems here today.
Joe Ruttman's got a long way to go, but just ahead of these trucks, there's a big knot of traffic that if they get to him, it's going to be tough to get through.
Mike is down to about a 5-truck length lead right now for Hornaday as the white flag comes out.
Ron Hornaday Jr. trails Mike Bliss up to turn 2, into turn 3. Here comes Ruttman. Ruttman's going to be there. It's a truck length difference. Ruttman is there. Hornaday down to the bottom on Bliss. Ducks to the inside and wins it. 14th Truck Series win for Hornaday. 3rd time he's led every lap of the race. And Joe Ruttman comes so close.
Well, he had a run on that last lap, but there was nowhere to go as he came off of turn 4, except to follow Hornaday.
And with those lightning-fast restarts, Ron Hornaday made it look easy, but he and all these drivers had a tough time dealing with traffic, especially in these closing laps. Dick Bergeron.
Lindy, every time your husband goes by, you give him a round of applause, but you're also, so tight and so worried. How is it watching this stuff?
It's exciting, but it's really tense. I got to help him drive every lap.
And how good a co-driver are you?
Nervous.
Today, a real good co-driver. Ron Hornaday wins here today at Louisville.
Joe Ruttman is 2nd, Jimmy Hensley is 3rd, Tony Raines is 4th, and Rich Bickle finishes 5th and picks up a $10,000 bonus for being the series point leader at the midpoint of the season. We'll be back to meet the winner and tell some of the other stories of these 225 laps right after this word. Sports. Let's go to Victory Lane and Ken Squire.
They were close all day, but they've never been closer than in Victory Lane. Ruttman and Hornaday crowding into the same vehicle. Boy, what a show you put on at the finish.
Well, I wanted to see what it felt like to get into a winning truck here. You know, the LCI truck is real good, but Ron was whipping us all day long, so he was kind enough to let me get in here and see what it felt like.
Yeah, but I asked you to get out. Let me get out first, Joe. You can get in, but...
He never can get that right. Dominating performance today, the most dominating of the season. Your 4th win that equals your high of last year. You've got to be thrilled.
Well, I tell you, I am. The Snapper Chevrolets run awesome all day, and we found something again. No, Freddie Graves hadn't quit on it. We just kept on pumping away, but I got to thank Burger King. Goodyear Tires came out with a great tire.
Ron, at the end of the race, I saw you call Freddie Graves, the crew chief, over here, and you spoke to him. What did you say?
I couldn't kiss him. He wasn't close enough. I tell you what, that man's turned his team around, and you know, you got to have that piece of puzzle, and he's the one. I got to thank Ty Norris and everybody back at the shop for believing in me and believing in old Freddie, and put a heck of a truck together. This is our oldest truck. We're not going to paint her again. We're going to beat the dents out and run her again, but Action Collectibles are #1 to me.
You just about blew the numbers off it out here today. Joe, last lap, you really made a run on him. Did you think you had enough in those last 5 laps, actually?
If I could get close enough to spin him, I probably would have, you know, probably could have beat him for sure.
One whack Joe.
Yeah, one whack Joe, is it? Dale, thanks for letting me. I didn't think you'd ever let me drive one of these things, but finally Dale let me drive for a change, and felt good. I mean, it feels cool in here and nice. I can see why he's doing so good. It's like air conditioning inside here.
It's 130 degrees in there, Joe.
Oh, it feels perfect. Perfect.
And you moved up in points today, Ron, 7th to 4th.
Ooh, that's good. Now we've got to stay there. We've been up there and fell back, and these guys are awesome again. I mean, I'm going to keep thanking them guys because you're only as good as your equipment you drive, and one of them days at Louisville again, they're not going to let me do this again for the 3rd time, so we better move on and go to a different track.
Final question. What made you so dominating out here today? From the very beginning, it was all this truck.
Well, we set it up pretty loose for qualifying, and we thought we tightened it up, and we didn't. So just grabbed fourth gear and just did not spin the tires. And every time Joe caught me, I'd run it in third gear and for a couple laps and loosen it up and grab fourth gear again. So little secret I learned last time when I messed up qualifying last year. But Dale, Teresa, thank you very much for the awesome Napa Chevrolet. Can't say enough.
The winner of this race has always gone on to win the championship, Ron.
Well, that's what Jack Sprague said earlier, and this one's for Jack. If we win this championship, we're going to be awesome. Dennis Fisher, she ran again all day, and I got to thank him. You know, he's been with us since this truck series started, and awesome motor.
Joe, give Ron back his truck. Let's get over to Ralph Shaheen.
Well, thank you, Ken. Rich Bickle is over here. He finishes fifth today, and Jack Sprague finished eighth. So now he picked up another 13 points. That gives you a 62-point lead in the points chase. You came in here as the points leader. You leave as the points leader, and you pick up an extra $10,000 because of your fifth here today. Does that help ease the pain of a tough day here at Louisville?
Well, I thought it makes a big difference. We come there and we unloaded, we were terrible. We were terrible after qualifying. We put a new setup in this morning. We got here and did last practice. The truck wasn't good again, so the guys threw another setup in just before the race. And I got to say, it was a lot better than it was, and we made a little bit of adjustment there at the halfway mark. It helped a little bit more, but we're still quite a bit off. These guys did a great job. They got this truck where it is here today. You know, I got to thank Gatorade for this bonus. You know, people don't realize how tough it is in this series. It's the 10th top 5 finish out of 13 races and just barely won the overall deal at halfway. So, you know, congratulations, Jack. You come up with a good run, but this diehard team has been great all year and the best trucks I've sat in my whole life.
Are you set now to take this all the way to the finish, or does this team still lacking in a particular area?
Oh, we'll do a little bit more work on some things. You know, when you're on top, you keep working harder. You know, the harder you work, and when you're up top, you got to work harder. Some guys are gunning for you. And right now, like I say, thanks to Daryl for giving me this shot at this deal. I hope he's happy. And, you know, we're halfway through, but I'll tell you, you know, we finished 5th, he finished 8th, he only gained 13 points. It's going to come down to Las Vegas at the end of the season.
Preview for me the race next week, which we'll see live here on CBS from Colorado. Is that another track that you expect a good run at?
Yeah, we'll run good out there, and you'll be able to race in that racetrack. This place here is fun to race. They should have put the lap car on the outside so we could have raced a little bit, but that's NASCAR's rule. We got to play their, you know, their game with their ball. But this is something that this is a tough little racetrack, especially when you got to get on the outside. It really makes it tough.
To Dick Burton.
Last year, Jimmy Hensley started third in this race, finished third in the race. This year, he started on the pole, but still finished third. You seem to have a lock on third, but it's a good run anyway.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with the coming stars today. You know, we started on the point. We messed up on the start. They threw the green flag. And Tony comes out and got ahead of us. We actually didn't lead him, but we ran good all day. And, you know, we were talking. I ran here on a little bitty track, you know, before they changed the configuration of it. I finished third in that race also. So that's 3 times I've been here. I finished 3 thirds. So, you know, we were pretty happy with the run here a little bit. You know, from your days, it's a pretty tough little racetrack, you know, to drive, but we had a good day, and so we're ready to go there.
Pretty physically demanding day as well. You had so many kids in the field, guys who were in their 20s and early 30s. Jimmy Hensley's 51. How tough was it for a guy who's over 30?
Well, you know, I made the heat. You know, I made the heat part pretty good. You know, I think I've been doing this so long. You know, I know how to prepare and you know what to do. And you know, I was fit today. I'm okay. You know, we were a little bit too tight today, and we really didn't want to make a lot of changes at halftime and get it really messed up. And we just kind of stuck with what we had, made a little air adjustment, and you know, we stayed there all day, and we're pretty happy with that.
Looks a lot better than some of the kids, Mike.
There are special seats down here in turn 1 in the cool pool. Bring a raft Ned banner there. How about that, Ned?
Yeah. Well, I didn't see the sign before it came, so I didn't bring a raft.
We're going to be right back with you for more from Louisville in just a moment. But first, let's go to Biloxi, Mississippi, and get an update from Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy on today's boxing.
Sports coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by the Ford F-150. Strength after strength after strength. Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil. And by Napa Auto Parts. We keep America running.
Ron Hornaday, the winner here at Louisville, leading every lap. Joe Ruttman finishing 2nd. Jimmy Hensley 3rd. 4th, Tony Raines. 5th, the point leader, Rich Bickle. 6th, best run of the season for Stacy Compton. Scott Walters, first truck race, finishes 7th. 2nd place point man Jack Sprague is 8th. Boris Said is 9th, and Mike Wallace is 10th. 1 lap down, rookie Kevin Harvick is 11th. Mike Cope is 12th. 13th to Mike Bliss. 14th, Tammy Joe Kirk. 15th is Terry Cook. He's 2 laps down, or rather 4 laps down. Rick Crawford ended up 16th, 6 laps behind. 7 laps down was Michael Dokken. Kenny Irwin 9 laps back. Rick Corelli ended up 13 laps off the pace. Tony Roper also 13 laps down, and Brian Cunningham deep in the field. So was Chuck Bound. And out of the race, Brian Reffner. Then Bob Keselowski was 24th. Dave Rezendes, Doug George, Wayne Grubb, Dan Press, Butch Miller, and Bill Kimmel Jr., the local driver. 31st was Jay Sauter with motor trouble and transmission problems. Took rookie Robbie Pyle out of the race very early. Ron Hornaday hoists the winner's trophy and heads for the press box with his 2nd Louisville win in a row. Here's Ralph.
Jack Sprague has found himself some shade, and Jack is credited with an 8th place finish here today. Jack, it seemed like the turning point for you in this race today was the fighting between you and Rick Corelli. The two of you could not seem to shake each other. Describe for me what was going on from your view.
Well, first of all, the guys did a great job on the Quaker State Chevrolet all day. We were terrible loose, and we salvaged a decent finish out of a bad situation. But I wasn't racing with Rick most of the day. He got tangled up, I think, with that 66 truck there toward the end, and the green come back out, and Bickle got by him, and I was trying to get by him, and I wasn't trying to get into him. I got under him in the front stretch a couple times, and he come down, and I just tapped him in the back up there a little bit, and apparently he probably wasn't real happy about the first wreck, and that second bump just put him over the edge. But he spun me out down there in turn 1. Luckily, I did a 360 to hit nothing, and only lost 2 spots. So, hey, we finished 8th. This is one of our fears as far as the race, so we come out of here in the top 10. We'll go on to the next one.
You come out of it now 62 points back behind Rich Bickle. As you look towards the second half of the season, size it up for me. Where do you think you can pick up those points? Is it just on the mile tracks, or do you got to trick up your sleeve?
We run awful good on the road courses. I'm looking forward to that. We run good at Colorado. I'm looking forward to that. So, you know, heck, I don't care where we race. It's just, you know, we got to get our stuff a little bit better here maybe, but maybe we won't be here next year. I don't know. I haven't heard. So, like I said, we still would have finished 6th, so that wouldn't have been that'd have been a pretty good salvage out of the situation, but we ended up 8th. We'll take it.
Jack Sprague now 62 points back behind Rich Bickle as they move on to the second half of the season. Dick Berggren.
Truck Series rookie Tony Raines had a good run today. Started on the outside of the front row, finished 4th, second best career finish. You look hot and tired, my friend.
It is a little hot. I'd like to say hi to my wife and her family back in Indiana. They lost an uncle this week, and they couldn't be here. And we miss them, and you know, hope everything's going good up there. But we had a good starting spot, but I think we didn't make it all the way around the first lap. I'm not sure why, but you know, we brought home one piece. It's a little rough. It's a little tore up. It's a really hard track to drive, and it's really hard to race here too. And Pennzoil Dodge made it in one piece.
How did you bend it up so badly? It looks like it's really ready for the body shop.
Well, I think I got nerfed a few times, and I shot through a couple holes and got sandwiched a couple times. You know, we got lucky for a couple times, missed a few wrecks, and you know, we had a really good truck. I think that just a little too late. You know, we got shuffled back there, and it took a long time to get back up to the top 5. And the track was coming up a little bit, but it was really hot and slippery. You know, we just did the best we could, and you know, another top 5, another rookie of the race. That's what we're trying to catch up on that Kenny Irwin.
Okay, let's go to Ken Squire.
Fans in the Mid-Atlantic area of NASCAR will tell you that one of the hottest drivers is Stacy Compton. 36 wins in that series at South Boston and Orange County. You've got a great following back there. You come out here today, like 150 top 5 finishes in the last 7 years. How many times have you raced on this track?
Well, believe it or not, this is the first time we've ever seen this place. You know, we got here, everybody kept telling us about Louisville, the great Louisville, and you know, we come out, and I tell you, your hat's got to be taken off to David Hodson, the owner of the team, Troy Selberg, Impact Motorsports crew, to be able to bring a truck out here and a team out here and a rookie and be able to run like we did. You know, it's a great weekend. All the Valvoline Instant Oil Change people were here because Lexington's their hometown, and we had a good weekend.
Well, tell us about the race. In the race, you held your spot. You stayed with that front 5 all day. You didn't seem to be fazed by any of the fact that some of these guys have got tremendous number of victories, a lot of reputation.
Well, you know, I kept looking up, and I kept seeing all these people like Jimmy Hensley and Ron Hornaday, and I'm thinking, I'm a rookie here, you know, and I'm sitting here running with these guys. But once again, that's a tribute to the guys on the crew. You know, we had a good truck. We had a good truck at first half. We tightened up a little bit in the second half, and you know, a couple of them got by us right there at the end. But we'll come home with a 6th place. We'll take it anytime.
6th place today, and a name to remember for the future, Stacy Compton. Back to Mike Joy.
That's his best finish of the season, Ken, and his second top 10 finish this year. There's winner Ron Hornaday signing a few autographs for the folks. In the points, Rich Bickle, the leader, Jack Sprague back 62. Joe Ruttman in third. Hornaday climbs to fourth. Chuck Bound and Mike Bliss.
And 6th through 12th in the points, or 7th through 12th is Jay Sauter, Jimmy Hensley, Kenny Irwin, Rick Corelli, Butch Miller, and Rick Crawford.
Well, we'll look at the next group. Dave Resendes is 13th, Boris Said 14th, Stacy Compton 15th, Tammy Jo Kirk 16th, Tony Rain 17th, and Bob Kozlowski is 18th.
We'll be back with more and some highlights from the bull ring here at Louisville right after this word. Well, there's what's left of Rick Corelli's truck after the beating and banging today. They're in no rush to load that one on the truck to go back to Colorado. Here's Ken Squire.
A Louisville Motor Speedway favorite, a hometown operator, 29-year-old guy that came through, Scott Walters, in 7th place today. You have to be thrilled.
Tickled to death. You know, Clarence Brewer at Bruco Motorsports gave Scott Walters a great opportunity to step up the ladder in my career. Red Magnolia Blend is a great sponsor, and to come away with a 7th place today is good for the whole team.
Ready for more?
Oh, yeah, ready for more. We're going to run for 5 more races this year, not to mess up my Rookie of the Year for next year, and I'm just glad to be a part of the team.
Well, we'll be watching for you in time to come. Good luck, Scott Walters. All right, we'll go to Mike Joy for a moment.
We're trying to match up all the cautions with all the laps they happened on and all the crashes, because we've got some great highlights to show you from the 225 laps here at Louisville. From Jay Sauter, you'll see what happened to Kenny Irvin in the 98 truck on lap 35. Then on that and almost every restart, Ron Hornaday able to rock it away. Then, Ned, show us what happened here, lap 76.
Michael Dawkins taps the number 2 truck of Mike Bliss. Into the wall goes Bliss, and Dawkins spins and gets hit also.
Lap 148.
Dave Resendes gets hard into the outside wall and takes 2 trucks with him.
Ron Hornaday, though, had Joe Ruttman filling up his mirrors almost the whole day long.
He got close but could never get around.
Then at lap 169, Doug George gets up in the high stuff and into the wall. Then the battle between Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday, or rather Rick Corelli, that saw Sprague spin and come right back.
And keeps going. Parts of his truck flies away, but he continues to run and finishes 8th.
Last lap, Mike Bliss holds the low lane. Ruttman in 80 closes in, but Hornaday drops to the low side and takes the victory. Pretty wild stuff.
Boy, it was wild all day long.
And about what we expected.
Yeah, we expected that going in. I mean, we knew last year the number of cautions they had and number of all the action that they had, and we expected the same thing today, and we got it.
Well, there'll be more heavyweight punching coming up next. 10-round heavyweight bout, Johnson versus Monaco. Johnson 26-0 with 16 knockouts. We had a couple of knockouts today as far as those trucks were concerned. Rookie Kenny Irwin and his truck co-owner Brad Doherty have put together an impressive first season. 8th in the overall standings with 2 wins. But this week in Chicago, I saw their work together off the track will leave a bigger impression on people. The United Center, home to Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Just a few blocks, but perhaps a million miles away, lie Chicago's toughest neighborhoods, where Michael built the James Jordan Center to honor his dad's memory and provide a haven for inner-city youth. Monday, Michael's college roommate and fellow role model rolled into town. Brad Doherty has brought Kenny Irwin and his race team to Chicago to meet with groups of inner-city youth. What do you hope to accomplish here?
I think the most important thing that we can do as a group is to pass along a very positive message. Try to encourage these kids to do the best they possibly can. Let them know that life isn't always fair, but as long as you fight, you'll have opportunity. And they're kids, and all kids are great.
A total of 200 kids sat in awe of the NBA great and the young NASCAR racer.
Okay, now we're going to talk about racing. How many of you have ever watched racing before? It's ultimately a team sport, just like basketball, just like baseball, because you have a group of guys and you're all working together trying to win a race. And Kenny's from the Midwest, and he hasn't been in the inner city a lot, and they look at Kenny and they say, that little guy drives that big truck, and
It's great. It's a good feel for both of them. They both learn a lot about each other.
You know what Michael Jordan and the Bulls have done here. I think everybody in America ought to come in and at least experience something like this, and try to take and do something in their own community. You know, there just needs to be more of these all over the United States.
And to add to this, Florida elementary school teacher Marcia Griffin has teamed up with this race team to develop a curriculum that'll use racing as a teaching tool. They'll next go to Topeka and Indianapolis to meet with inner-city youth. And we'll be back as Ralph looks over the remains of Rick Corelli's truck with more from Louisville after this. Your laptop with you?
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Hey, short track racing. You can call this track weird, you can call it unique, but I call it fun. I love it.
Mike, I hope they never phase out the short tracks. They have a place in American racing.
And we got another one of them coming up next Saturday right here on CBS. About the same size racetrack, lots of action. Can't wait.
Well, Ken Squire, is Ron Hornaday beating the bull ring today?
Did he ever? They may call it a bull ring, Mike, but for him it was a stairway to heaven. He was flawless from the very outset of this race. Question is, what's going to happen when he goes out to Denver, Colorado for the next NASCAR Craftsman Truck event? That's coming up next weekend right here on CBS, and it was a sensational race just a year ago. But for today, give Hornaday 2 ears, a tail. He had the beef in this one. For Mike Joy, Ned Jarrett, Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Ralph Shaheen, Ken Squire saying so long from the Louisville Motor Speedway, where Ron Hornaday has won the 1997 Louisville 225. Next week from Colorado, it's the Colorado 250. Next on CBS, heavyweight boxing, unbeaten Kirk Johnson takes on Louis Monaco. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the Daytona 500.